Why do self-hating Latinos get so angry when you remind them that they are not white?
They all has white skin color. There was a time when white supremacy will feel comfortable enough around me to be spouting all kinds of about other minority groups. At the time, for fear of being shown away and excluded, I would choose to stay quiet, which I now am even ashamed to admit. I no longer do that shit. If they now have some saying from me, I will stop and right on their tracks. In fact, ever since my awakening, most of them no longer want anything to do with me anyhow. When did I find out that I really wasn't considered to be white? Story time.
What is your ethnicity? Are you full-blooded American? Were you born in the United States? Talk to me.
I thought everybody knew. I'm white. Well, that's what I put on my paperwork. You know, they say what they want. Call me coconut and everything. You know, I'm gonna be honest. I'm just a Christian. I'm an American. I got brown skin, purple lips, and full mane over here of hair. So
I was cracking up when he started describing himself. I was disappointed he didn't keep going. I'm an American. I got bushy brows, a nice button nose. My ears are in the shape of. All right, I'm gonna stop.
This is a trip. Mexicans were thinking they was white folks. They'd forgotten about the Alamo. All my Puerto Rican friends. I'm Spanish. Oh, a tall Mexican. No, I mean I'm Spanish. I thought that was a language. Everybody gets it twisted. If you take an African zebra to Canada, it does not make it a Canadian zebra. Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Cubans ain't nothing but black folks that can swim. You think that you better than us. Cause they dropped you off first.
Again, another one bites the dust. How many videos am I going to have to make to tell you if you don't look like me, but you think because you're not black, it's not going to happen to you? It's going to happen to you.
Hi guys, my name is Kelvin Bernard, and you're welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into something that's been brewing for years and is now blowing up in real time. You've seen the clips, you've heard the calls for black and brown unity. Latinos are out here having meltdowns, begging for alliances after getting reminded by white folks that their proximity to whiteness was always an illusion. But let's be clear from the jump, this ain't some new awakening. This is a pivot, a calculated move. They see the winds changing, they see the masks coming off the white patriarchy, and now they want to use foundational black Americans as a tool, just like other groups have done throughout history. They use us, get what they want, then go right back to chasing that whiteness they claim to reject. FB, as have been warning everybody for years, we told y'all, we have no permanent friends, no permanent allies. The only people we can trust is ourselves. But they laughed, they mocked, they called us divisive. Now, reality is hitting, and a whole lot of ethnic groups are having a massive fuck around and find out moment. Look at these Latinos, especially the lighter-skinned ones. For decades, they've been checking white on birth certificates for their newborns. They'd rather claim descendants from Neanderthals than acknowledge their African roots. They don't know their own history, the mixture, the slavery, the indigenous blood mixed with African. But no, they want to be Spanish. They want to be white. They want to be anything but connected to us. And now that the hard truth is staring them in the face, they're breaking down, making videos, calling for unity. Nah. We see you, we see the play. This is the same old game, and today I'm breaking it all the way down.
That I really wasn't considered to be white? Story time. For those of you who do not know me, I was born and raised in the island of Puerto Rico. The reason I have an accent is because English is my second language. In Puerto Rico, we learn some English in school, but not enough to be conversational. So it was under that context back in 1989 that I decided then to join the United States Army when I was only 18 years old. Given then my lack of skills in the English language, the Army sent me to a 9-week English school before I could start basic training. Although those 9 weeks helped me with the basics of the English language, they really weren't enough to keep me from sometimes struggling during my training. Thankfully, I had a Puerto Rican friend who was from New York and bilingual and could help me to survive it. After graduating from basic training and advanced individual training, I also attended airborne school, where I basically learned how to safely jump out of airplanes. After that, I ended up landing in my first duty station, which was the 82nd Airborne Division at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. During my first year there, as I was still learning and struggling with the English language, some of my fellow paratroopers sometimes would treat me like I was some kind of idiot who didn't know what was going on. Deep inside, that shit used to piss me off. Most of these fellow paratroopers happened then to share my same skin color, which was then that I began to learn about some of the realities about this country that I wasn't yet fully aware of. So after being in my unit for almost a year, we all then got called to go to the Persian Gulf to be part of the Gulf War in 1990-91. Since we were the 82nd Airborne Division, we were literally the very first one who arrived to Saudi Arabia to get ready to potentially fight the Iraqis. They put us then in the middle of the desert and had to build our own mini tent city. Well, the leadership at the time didn't take charge of our living arrangements and basically allowed everyone to pick their own tents. Interesting enough, we all ended up divided by race groups, the white tents and then the everyone else's tents. Guess which tent I ended up in? You guessed it right. Even if I wanted to be in the white tent, I knew then that I wouldn't be welcome. Anyhow, with such segregation, it wasn't long before we all ended up fighting one another. That's when the leadership realized they f***ed up and only then ended up rearranging our living spaces. Ever since then, I understood which tent I belonged to. For years, I tried to get in their tent until I realized that I could build my own and be much better than theirs. In fact, that experience helped me to become the leader that I ended up becoming later on in the future. A little while ago, I made a video explaining how I personally came to find out which tent I belong to here in the United States once I joined the U.S. military from Puerto Rico. Ever since then, it's been my personal conviction that in this country there are only two separate tents by which one decides to abide in. So what exactly are those two tents? The tent of exclusive white supremacy and the tent of inclusive diversity. Everyone in this country belongs to one of these two tents. When Obama then became president, some people began to then gain consciousness as to which tent they belong to, in particular after the death of Trayvon Martin. I personally consider that a specific tragic event not only a clear turning point that began to drag us all back to the Jim Crow era, but also the key that opened the door to Trump ever becoming a possibility. It was at that specific event that many people who never realized before which tent they have always belonged to gained consciousness, where lines then began to be drawn all throughout our nation. Those who have always had implicit biases against black people came to realize that they were part of the white tent by taking sides with the obvious murderer, and those who were all along in the tent of diversity began to also understand which tent they have always belonged to. During that incident, there were people of all colors and backgrounds who realized they have always belonged to the tent of progressive inclusive diversity. But unfortunately, there were also many people from all colors and backgrounds who realized then that they mostly preferred to defend the digressive exclusive white supremacy tent. So in 2016, many who previously didn't realize before to be part of the white supremacy tent came in droves to vote for Trump. Ever since then, the lines have been clearly drawn. So my question to you today is, which tent do you belong today? Stay woke, people.
And again, another one bites the dust. How many videos am I going to have to make to tell you, if you don't look like me, but you think because you're not black, it's not going to happen to you? It's going to happen to you. And the irony is your proximity to whiteness is never going to save you, and the call is always going to come from inside the house. Let's not forget that just a week and a half ago, they found a 19-year-old Latino boy hanging outside of a police department in Washington, D.C. We will never like you. We will never accept you. We will use you. We will abuse you. And then we will toss you aside. She's a dead woman walking. If she'll get drunk and get on Instagram on somebody else's page and talk like this, do you imagine what she says within the police department with other officers? So now they're thinking if she'll yap, she'll yap. So we need to worry about that. We'll never protect you. We'll never choose you. And you are not safe with us.
You will never be a part of the white community, okay? And let me hold your hand while I say this. You will never be a part of the white community. No matter how whitewashed you are, no matter if you don't speak your native language, no matter if you don't have an accent, no matter if you get your steak medium rare, you will never be part of the white community. I myself am Mexican, my husband is white, and the privilege that comes with that, for him, never for me, for him, everything that he doesn't understand. And I don't understand like Hispanics that are just so openly against their own people. I don't get that. I mean, like my son, I am raising him fully rooted in the fact that he knows he's Mexican and he will never be ashamed of that. A lot of people that support different thoughts that don't align with them and what they look like there's a lot of self-hatred in that. There's a lot of lack of self-acceptance. My sister-in-law is white, my husband is white. We are surrounded by white people all the time, and we will never be part of that community. It's insane to me when people shit on their own culture and their own people. And that's just the reality that we live in today.
And to the Latinos wearing red hats, you wave his flag like it's gonna save you. ICE doesn't care who you voted for. You're brown, that's your crime. And no bumper sticker is gonna stop them from racially profiling you. You are not the exception. And you think you're one of them, you fool. Your brown eyes will never be blue. Your brown skin will never be white. They'll use you until they don't need you, then they'll spit you out. Have you not realized that yet? Latino Trump supporters screamed, I did not vote for this. Claim that you were deceived, just admit that you were complicit in our hate. They offered you an illusion of Christian values just like the Nazis did, and you bought it. Shredding your weight and aligning with the KKK. Malcolm X once said, who taught you to hate yourself? And I echo his consciousness. Who taught you to hate your own kind? This country was built on slavery and genocide of those forgotten. This is why Native Americans are getting detained, because they can't distinguish between us. We are native to this land, and yet they called it virgin lands. We never crossed the border they created. The border crossed us. Uprooted, forcefully transferred, lynched. Oh, wait, you weren't taught that? Isn't that a plus? Indoctrinating you in schools to never question, but to memorize what they wanted you to. And now children in cages exploited and injured at meat factories while you pray in pews. Is that what your Jesus wanted? Is this what you pray for on Sundays? If so, then you're not a real Christian, because Jesus was a person of color and a true socialist. And if you don't believe me, read the Bible. Or are going to pick which part fits your narrative. This is not about hating others. This is about why you hate yourself, because you reflect what you show in the world. We are the prayers of our abuelas whispered under their breath. We are the tongues you tried to cut. We are the stories you tried to bury. We are the mestizos and mulattos you can't get rid of. How did the hoarders of wealth convince you that it's hard-working people that are the infection? Never forget that we are the heartbeat, and I refuse to continue to be fed white meat. Que viva la revolución.
Thank you. Thank you.
You will never be white. As much as you, a fellow Latino, wants to be in proximity to whiteness, you will never be white. You will never be chosen in that way. As much as you think that you are better than undocumented Latinos because your family came here the right way, or because you're second generation or third generation, or because you either forgot or unaware of the foundation of this country and the fact that immigrants from Europe came here, stole the land from indigenous people, and then literally stole people, and forced them to be slaves, forced them to do labor. So when you think that you want to be in proximity to whiteness because you consider yourself better, think about that. Think about that there is internalized racism in our own community, how there is anti-blackness in our own community, how there is colorism in our own community. Think about those things, because no human being is better than the other because they think that because they have papers that they are better than another human being. A human being is a human being. There is no alien. There is no illegal when it comes to the world, okay? So let me remind you that you will never be white. my gosh, who said that? Who said it? Who said that?
You know that picture of the Mexican guy looking into a mirror and his reflection is a white man? I actually met someone once who genuinely thought he was a white man. And I mean literally thought he was a white man. Not his politics, not who he voted for, skin color. And I want to tell you, this man looked so fucking Mexican. And I say that as a Mexican. Like, he looked straight from Mexico. And we had been seeing each other for some time, and one time we talked about ICE and he was like, I'll protect you, don't worry. And in my head I was like, how? Like, you're not white passing. And then one day I saw him repost a reel where it was just like me putting myself in front of the Latina baddies to protect them when ICE comes in. I was like, bro, you're like maybe one shade lighter than me. His hair was like one shade lighter than mine. And I was like, how are you gonna protect the Latina baddies when you yourself look so fucking... They would come after you first before the Latina.
I, for one, am never going to forget how a lot of you guys on this app treated black women and the black men, but specifically the black women who said that we were resting and we were sitting this one out after the country played in our face when it came to Kamala being elected for president. I will never forget that, because over the past year and a half that we have declared that we are resting, we have continuously seen people in our country be continuously anti-black and racist. The Latino community tried to come at us when everything started happening with the ICE raids. And now look, we have Latino people who are trying to fight us in the comments, fight other black people in the comments for calling out the consistent racism and anti-blackness within the Latino community on the heels of this Ashley Gonzalez video that has popped up, the sheriff from Houston that went on a racist rant. We saw how y'all played in Jasmine Crockett's face. We saw how these online white leftists acted when black people were calling out the fact that it was wrong that Mandami's wife, even though I fuck with Mandami, I like Mandami, but his wife had those anti-black and racist tweets, and how we just need to get over it. I will never forget how y'all acted with us when we said, you know what, we're going to take a rest. And even some other black creators on this app, some who I really enjoy their social and political commentary. And, you know, some were giving us grace and they understood and they were trying to talk about the nuance and the bigger picture of everything and how we shouldn't rest. I get that. But some of y'all were being very disrespectful. And we have seen time and time again that we were right. That we were right. These people are in the comments of black creators who are from Texas or from LA or from Arizona, 3 places which I have lived in, all 3 places. I live in LA now, and talked about their experience with anti-blackness and racism from the Latino community. Latino people are in the comments right now telling black people that they shouldn't say that. Don't generalize us all. But y'all are under the comments of black people, but not under the comments of the Latino people who are agreeing with Ashley Gonzalez. They're in the comments, in the videos that you're commenting under. There are Latino people saying, oh, I agree with her, but you're not going back and forth with them. You're going back and forth with the creator or the other black people in the comments. You got this poor white trash using black people for rage bait, talking about black proms and hood proms. Y'all had a lot to say, a lot of disparaging and mean things to say to the black community when they said, we're going to rest because y'all are playing in our faces. And continuously, we have seen time and time again that we were right.
There's a lot of self-hating Latinos on this app, like Latinos for Trump. And obviously they think they're white, they try to cater to white Republicans. They're desperate for acceptance, which, they'll never get. And I find it very interesting because never once have I seen a white Republican, repost their videos or share their videos or like their videos or leave a comment saying that they support them. Never. If you go to their comment section, all you're going to see is other self-hating Latinos. It's like a little circle jerk of self-hate. They're so desperate for acceptance that they seek validation within themselves. If you don't believe me, go to any of their videos and just go look at the comments. And I'll take it even a step further. You guys remember Tortas Manantial, that Mexican restaurant in Phoenix that came out saying that they were MAGA and now they're going bankrupt? I have not seen a single white Republican or a MAGA content creator come out and say, you know what? let's go support Tortas Manantial. Let's go take him out of bankruptcy. Not one. Tortas Manantial is pro-MAGA, but MAGA is not pro-Tortas Manantial. I just find it very interesting how the people that they're so desperate to be accepted by do not care about them at all. It's such a bizarre inferiority complex, almost like Stockholm Syndrome. But there you have it, guys. I have not seen a single white Republican support any of these Latinos for Trump. But anyways, let me know what you guys think.
Racism is deeply rooted in Hispanic culture, and here's why. It's very interesting how Hispanic cultures will assimilate to white culture so that they can be accepted by the white man. It's very interesting. In Hispanic culture, it is obviously more favorable to be light-skinned and or white. And a lot of that plays into every aspect of your life, romantically, platonically, etc. And whenever I speak to a Hispanic individual and I tell them I'm Puerto Rican, it's fine up until I say that I'm also black, and then all of a sudden they're not interested. That internalized racism is showing, babe. And trust me, you are far from the white man. Far from it. I don't even think a white man sees you as white, babe. And for people who are like, oh, it's a preference, I didn't know someone's skin color was a fucking preference. That's not a fucking preference, that's fucking racism. Hello.
Hey there, I'm Ray, and I have an opinion. Have a seat. So, I want Latinos to understand that they're not white, they will never be white, and they will never be accepted as white. Let me back it up. So you know me, I stay scrolling on that goddamn internet. Follow me there. And I was scrolling on Instagrams and I saw that Black Millionaires, one of the pages I love to follow, posted that voting data shows that the Latino vote was a tipping point that pushed James Tallarico to victory over Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who did extremely well with the black. First of all, shout out to the black vote that showed up. But I don't know, when will Latinos get it? They don't like you. Nothing against James, but Jasmine would have fought for y'all too. You have an opinion, leave a comment.
This is why we as Latinas or Latinos can't support each other, because we're starting to drink the Kool-Aid of white supremacy, capitalism, and colonialism. Because this is giving intolerance. This is giving eugenics. And this is the worst one because it gives everything at the same time. It gives capitalism. It gives American exceptionalism. It gives, I don't know anything about economics, systemic discrimination, or even history. And it's just embarrassing, honestly. It's pathetic that the whole mantra here is that you have complete control over how successful you are in a country that colonized you and discriminates against you all the time. In that case, how come not every one of us is a multi-billionaire? Oh, because we're lazy, right? Or because we're stupid, or because we don't care, or because we portray ourselves as victims. Read a fucking book. Talk to people. This is not a flex.
Why do self-hating Latinos get so angry when you remind them that they are not white?
I've always been very intrigued by this phenomenon, and it reminds me of two different stories. Okay, so this first one, I overheard this girl tell another girl, both girls are Hispanic in this story, and one girl says to the other girl, you know, you really look like Eva Longoria, who is a beautiful woman. The other girl responds and says, oh, really? I think I really look like Dakota Johnson. Yes, this Dakota Johnson, who was also a beautiful woman. But I was just like, wait, you think you look like a white woman? And the other girl was just like, what? And then this other story, also another conversation that I overheard. It was two Hispanic people having a conversation again. This was at work. And this girl was very clear that, you know, she was Latina, but she had blue eyes. And she tells this guy, who's a very proud Salvadorian. She says to him, yeah, just me and my family, we're all like super white passing, you know, with our blue eyes. And he held her hand and he said, I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this, but ma'am, you do not look white. And it honestly looked like her life ended that day.
Let's talk facts and let's talk reality. That Puerto Rican brother in the Army story, yeah, he learned quick in those desert tents during the Gulf War. White tents over here, everybody else over there. He realized he wasn't welcome in the white club, no matter how much he identified, cool, lesson learned. But instead of building his own table, he's pushing this inclusive diversity tent that basically means black people, come save us and carry us. Nah, we're not the saviors. We've been warning for decades. FB, as said it loud. The white patriarchy is taking off the masks. They played the game of model minority with y'all, let y'all think y'all was next in line, and now the door is slamming, and your first reaction is to run to us? After years of mocking foundational black Americans? After putting white on birth certificates like, your kids ain't got that African ancestry? After acting like you were better than us because you got dropped off first at the plantation? This is classic. Other ethnic groups did the same thing. They ride the wave of anti-blackness to get closer to whiteness, get the jobs, the housing, the social acceptance. Then when the tables turn, they holler. We all in this together. We've seen it before. We know the playbook. Use the tool, then discard the tool. Most Latinos don't even know their own history. The transatlantic slave trade didn't skip Latin America. Africans were everywhere in the colonies. Cuba, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Dominican Republic. But y'all chased the Spanish identity, the white box, the proximity to the very system that will never fully claim you. And now you're shocked? FB, as realized. A long time ago, no permanent allies. We can work with individuals of goodwill, but group alliances? History shows they're temporary and self-serving. Y'all laughed at us when we said, stay in your lane and build. Now the lane is closing and you want to merge traffic. The Trayvon Martin era, the Trump era, it drew the lines. Some chose the white supremacy tent. Others are pretending to choose diversity only because it benefits them right now. But we know once the pressure eases, the old behaviors return. They always do. We are not your safety net. We are not your stepladder to whiteness. We are foundational black Americans with our own struggle, our own ancestors' blood in this soil, and our own destiny to manifest. Self-reliance is the only path. Stop begging for unity when y'all wouldn't reciprocate in the good times. So to everybody watching, stay vigilant. FBAs, keep building. Keep focusing on our own communities, our own economics, our own protection. To the Latinos and other groups, having this moment, take the L, learn the lesson, or keep repeating the cycle. We're not falling for the pivot. If you're new here, smash that subscribe button. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you see the pattern too? Let me know. Drop a like. If you stand on self-reliance, this is the truth they don't want you to hear. Stay woke, for real, this time. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.